Welcome to a new video, and this is just a short video where I will show you that I have now also finally the new iPhone 16 Pro with me, and I want to do a quick unboxing and first look, so let's get started. In the box of this very thin iPhone package, we have the titanium black version of the iPhone. Look how gorgeous this looks like. This is the black version here of this device. Whatever else comes in the box is a pin selection tool and some kind of like interesting USB cable that has like some pattern there on its USB-C to C cable. Sadly, this one can only be used for charging, but the data transfer is only USB 2 speed, so you're better off with another USB cable here. And yeah, let's get this device started and let's take a look. So this is the titanium black version here. We have the triple lens setup there that you can see with the new 48 megapixel ultra wide angle. The rest here, the 5 times zoom, they inherited from the 15 Pro Max, and the main camera sensor has been updated, I think, slightly. Volume rocker, the action button, and USB Type-C port to USB 3.2, I think it is. And yeah, loudspeaker, microphone. Then we have the new camera action or camera control button and the power button there, and nothing else there on the top. So very, very clean. You can see I turned it on already. Biometrics are working fine as well. So you can see it is like unlocking with the face unlock there. I already used my old iPhone XS to get all my data in here, and yeah, we can check a little bit of the software as well. You can see the storage that I'm using. Of course, I got all the data transferred, so usually it is roughly 25 gigabytes that they're using here. I have 256 gigabytes here for the Pro version, but the Pro version starts with 128 gigabytes version for the yeah, smallest and less costly version, but I would recommend at least 256 gigabytes for this kind of version here. You can see the notch is quite huge in comparison to what I'm used to on my Huawei or Honor devices that also have 3D face unlock but have a way smaller notch there, so this is something to keep in mind. Otherwise, the screen, especially the display edges there, are very, very thin. This is what I really like, and also this rounded off corners makes it look and feel very good in the hand when you're holding it. Let's check the audio quality of the speakers of the iPhone 16 Pro. Full volume. Excellent speakers, as you heard, very loud, bassy, and they're not vibrating too much, so very, very good speakers for sure. Let's talk cameras quickly. I briefly mentioned them, but we have the main camera sensor, 48 megapixels. We have a 12 megapixel periscope 5 times zoom, and we have a new 48 megapixel ultra wide angle. And on the front, we have a 12 megapixel housed in there. Let's do and perform a little video test. 4K 30 frames per second recording now here on the iPhone 16 Pro. So what do you think about this quality here on the front facing camera? How is stabilization? How are colors here? How good is HDR? Well, it's a bit of a gloomy day anyway, so you probably won't see a little bit of blue there. What do you think about the front facing camera here on the iPhone 16 Pro? Now I'm recording with the iPhone 16 Pro's main camera sensor. As you can see here, 48 megapixels, 4K 30 frames per second, no issues at all with this one here. The iPhone is to be claimed by many YouTubers the king of smartphone videography. What do you think about this one here? Is it really the case? 4K 30 frames per second, I can record up to 4K 60 frames per second, but I can also switch to the ultra wide angle just by tapping a button. There we go, ultra wide angle. This is the new brand new 48 megapixel kind of sensor. Actually, in the first photos there, I didn't see much of a difference to the 15 Pro Max that I was testing last year. Was it this year, last year? Last time. and maybe they have in the RAW mode a little bit more. Maybe you have to wait for some updates to improve, especially the distortion towards the sides is still there. But in terms of videography, this shouldn't be an issue because they're cropping in a little bit anyway because of the EIS actually. So what do you think about this one? It's a bit of a gloomy day, not much blue going on here. What do you think about this ultra wide angle? Let's try to zoom in on something like the flower there, so I can directly go to 2 times, which is a crop on the main camera sensor, and I can go to 5 times. You can see there's a small switch, at least in screen I saw there again, a small switch to the 5x. So just like on Android phones, we have this small switch. Let's go further, up to 15 times zoom. This is what you can achieve here. So what do you think about this quality? And this is just a small teaser. Of course, I will do a camera comparison with the Find X7 Ultra, with the Vivo X100 Ultra, with the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, with the Honor Magic 6 RSR, and lots of other smartphone cameras especially. Maybe not in this order, but yeah, we will see how this will look like. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of the camera comparisons with the iPhone 16 Pro, with all the other major camera smartphone flagships that I have. Talking about the camera, I used this camera button here. If you press and hold, it should actually start the camera. There we go. And then you have the possibility, it's a bit further in than it would be nicer to have it here, but it's here actually. And then you can just hold it, and then you get, like in my case, exposure compensation. Because if you double tap and then hold, I don't know how it's actually supposed to work. The triple tap, actually you can choose the function exposure compensation, which I like to do, but by default it's, I think, turned to zoom, so cameras, so you can zoom in and out, which doesn't make any sense because you have the on-screen buttons anyway. So I still don't know how to trigger this to change it. 3 times tap I thought it is, and then I got exposure compensation, which makes the most sense. And then you can, it's not like holding a bit further to focus on something. It has this normal always on focus, and then if you press it, however, it will take a photo. So yeah, it's a bit finicky. However, yeah, I like it like this. It's a bit hard to press. This is easier to press, but for taking photos like this, I think it makes sense, because then you can press it. And so yeah, I saw people doing it like this, but nah, this is harder with the thumb, and then it gets a bit unstable, especially on the Max version. But yeah, like this, I could imagine like grabbing like this, and you can see I'm holding it or pressing it slightly already for the exposure compensation. This might be something that I want to turn off, and gladly there is this setting to turn it off in settings. But for taking a shot, just to press it, it's working nicely, I think. Still a bit of cumbersome, this camera control button that they have there on the new iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max and 16. Otherwise, the device is running fluid with the new A18 Pro processor, and of course the 8 GB of RAM. 8 GB of RAM sounds a little bit less, but when it goes or comes to like keeping stuff in memory, I think it's highly optimized there for this. So no issues there at all with this in regards to keeping stuff in memory. Some things are reloaded then at one point there, but in general it is a fluid experience that you get here on iOS 18 with the iPhone 16 Pro. Otherwise, in terms of software, what we have is the new possibility to position all the icons the way you want. As you can see, I have on the top left some icons positioned there, and this is working nicely, and it's a nice improvement. However, if you want to move one icon, you can see it's still like going out of the way and rearranging everything. So in the end, you might end up with something that you really don't like. So this is something you have to keep in mind, and hopefully they can update this a little bit, make it more flexible. Just like copy the thing like Android is doing it. It's much easier then, and you don't have this issue with icons rearranging if you don't want to. And you can really copy what other Android distributions are doing, basically by allowing the way of automatically sorting stuff, or disable it and have it completely manually sorted. The 3582 mAh battery on the iPhone 16 Pro is lasting quite good. So we have around 1.5 days of battery life usually. And you see I don't have a SIM card inserted, so a day you should get at least on this device. And we have, yeah, USB-C charging there, so you can charge it like any other phone basically, which is quite nice. And we have also wireless charging with the MagSafe here. However, it is not quick wireless charging, it's still slower wireless charging, 20 watts, something like this. And also here I think it's only promised 25 watts. There are rumors that it can go 45 watts, but I didn't see it really in real time yet to do so. But yeah, this is the charging. Just like always, it's a bit slower, but the battery holds quite long for its size. So first impressions with the iPhone 16 Pro. I like this compact size. I like that they have the 5x zoom in here. However, I don't think on first impressions with photos that it's particularly good in terms of portraits. So I think, yeah, it is still okay in terms of portraits for a flagship device, but it's basically on par with last year's model. And especially at 3x, I think last year's model would have performed a little bit better than this one here. Nevertheless, I think it's a solid device, it's a solid upgrade. The camera button, camera control here is a bit of fiddly. Everyone is saying this and I can, yeah, only agree to this. The only thing that's very useful for this is like pressing it down sometimes. It can be a bit fiddly, especially if I'm doing like this. Maybe even pressing the shutter button like this is introducing less shake, especially in darker environments. So yeah, it's a bit a hit or a miss. Hopefully they can iterate on it in the next release and move the button a bit further down and make it a little bit more like the Xperia 1 Mark 6, Xperia 1 Mark 5, the Xperia lineup basically in terms of camera control buttons. That would help tremendously. Otherwise, in terms of software, it's pretty solid there. It's a bit disappointing that we don't have the AI stuff. I don't expect it to come to Europe anyway, also next year, not, because there's so many privacy things that it touches that, yeah, and also they're rushing it out. This is why it's not there yet, even for the US market. The AI stuff was, yeah, Apple was sleeping on the AI stuff a little bit there, and I think Google and others are a bit ahead when it comes to what they feature in terms of AI on their phone. Otherwise, this device is pretty solid. The operating system runs pretty solid, just like the predecessor already. I don't see much of a reason to upgrade from the predecessor to this one here. Even the 5x zoom is not so spectacular. It's the same one that we have on the Pro Max, and it's a bit of noisy and processing is not so great. Even the ultra wide angle with the 48 megapixels on first glance, not a huge improvement in comparison to the predecessor. So this is my first impression of the iPhone 16 Pro. If you have some questions, write them down in the comment section. Of course, I will do, like I said, camera comparisons with other flagship smartphones, and we will see which rank this iPhone 16 Pro will get. Can it beat the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Let's see. That's it. Until the next time. Bye.